Good morning, children. Today we are going to learn the next new lesson in JK, lesson number 19, Great Indian Personalities. When we talk about great personalities, we are not necessarily talking about rich and famous people. There are plenty of personalities who have done great service to their country and society at large without being popular or rich. And children today should know about them and the work they have done. Inculcation of societal and ethical values is important for today's generation because the rat race for money and fame is becoming a hindrance for teaching good values and integrity to children. Greatness is defined by the deeds people do for their society and not the amount of money and fame they have. The personalities that we are going to mention today are those who have affected millions of lives across the world and have become a source of inspiration for generations to come. It's not only the deeds that they have done, but the way they have to lead their own lives is a matter of inspiration for the society. There are many famous personalities from around the world who are better known with their nicknames or pen names. These names, through their use in media or books, have become more popular than the original names of these personalities. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn the nicknames of famous personalities from India that you should know about. So, there are some names given in the column below, and we have an exercise which has to be done. Now, the exercise goes identify the personalities using their nicknames. So, let us see the first one, Mahatma. Now, who was Mahatma? Yes, we all know that we are referring to Mahatma Gandhi. His full name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and he was also known as Mahatma Gandhi. He was an Indian lawyer, an anti-colonial nationalist who employed non-violent resistance to lead the successful campaign for India's independence from British rule. And in turn, he also inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. So, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi or MK Gandhi was popularly called as Mahatma or Mahatma Gandhi. Now, let us look at the second one. The second one is Gurudev. Now, who was Gurudev? Have you heard about the famous poet Rabindranath Tagore? Yes, Rabindranath Tagore was called as Gurudev. After Rabindranath Tagore gave Gandhiji the title Mahatma, Gandhiji, paying tribute to Tagore, gave him the title Gurudev. Tagore was a great guru in ideological sense too, as he always advocated for unfettered learning. He fulfilled his dream of this form by establishing Shanti Nikethan, where children got education close to nature. So he was not only a poet, but he was also a teacher. He had his own university where he used to teach children, and that is the reason why he was given the title Gurudev. So Gurudev was Rabindranath Tagore. Now the next one, the third one says Lokamanya. Who was Lokamanya? We have popularly heard as Lokamanya Tilak. Yes, it was Bal Gangadhar Tilak who was called as Lokamanya Tilak. He was 1/3 of the Lal Bal Pal triumvirate. Tilak was the first leader of the Indian independence movement. The British colonial authorities called him the father of Indian unrest. He was also conferred with the title of Lokamanya, which means accepted by the people as their leader. So that is the reason why Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he was one of the foremost person who started up the Indian independence movement. So that is why he was called as Lokamanya Tilak. Now next let us read the fourth one says Netaji. Now who was called as Netaji? It was Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose was a great leader of India. His countrymen called him Netaji because he led them on the right path. Despite the difficulties like being in prison, he showed the correct path to everyone. This can be referred from the second sentence in the passage. So, Subhash Chandra Bose was one amongst those leaders who always directed their countrymen to walk on the right path, and that's the reason why he was called Netaji or the leader. Now the fifth one says CHACHAJI. This is very familiar to you all, right? Because we all have been celebrating November 14th as Jawaharlal Nehru's birthday as Children's Day, and we with love call him as CHACHAJI. Yes, Jawaharlal Nehru was commonly known as Chacha Nehru or CHACHAJI. There are several stories on why he was called Chacha. One story suggests that Nehru was called Chacha because his friendly attitude towards kids. However, another story suggests that Nehru was called Chacha because his closeness with Mahatma Gandhi. It is believed that Nehru was like a younger brother for Mahatma Gandhi and thus is known as Chacha. So now let us look at the next one. It says Iron Man of India. Who was the Iron Man of India? It was Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Yes, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was a man of his words. His childhood was very humble, but it showed signs of his strong character and will. There are numerous incidents that made him the Iron Man of India. These incidents of his life made him one of the prophetic leaders of India, and that is why he is also popularly known everywhere in the world. As a child, he was strong, both mentally and physically, and that carried throughout his life. It was his hard work and intelligence that made him the Iron Man. So that is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was known as the Iron Man of India. And the next one says Babasaheb. Baba is a word which we commonly use in the North Indian all for referring to grandparents in our home. Father of our father. Dr. Ambedkar was the person who changed the history of 3000 years in 30 years. He broke the social conventions meant for the lower caste and treated them all and urged them to educate and fight for their rights and gave equal rights to all by writing the Indian Constitution. So he was the person who drafted the Indian Constitution. He successfully managed to improve the social conditions of untouchables, Indian women and labourers. On account of his heroic efforts, he is called as Babasaheb to acknowledge his gratitude by his followers. So the next one, let us look at the next one. It says Saint of the Gutters. Who was called as the Saint of the Gutters? It was Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa has spent most of her life in helping the poor and sick abandoned in roadsides and gutters. This situation in Calcutta was terrible, especially in slum areas. Old and sick people were living in streets and gutters. Many of them were eaten by rats. Many had wounds on their body and still covered by dust and mud. Mother Teresa took them, many times carried them, washed them and covered them with cloth. She treated them with what all facilities were available for them. Most of them were beyond a recovery stage. She wanted them to experience the love of Jesus at least before they died. And this is the reason why Mother Teresa was called as the Saint of the Gutters. Now we have the last one, that is Missile Man of India. APJ Abdul Kalam was called as the Missile Man of India. He was the man behind India's success in launching missiles. He is one of the greatest scientists which India has ever got. He has done wonders in the field of science. Our former president He was the man who was an inspiration for young India and hence was referred to as Missile Man of India due to his contribution in creating ballistic missiles and launch vehicle technology. So that is all we have got to study today. We have to salute all of these personalities because they have greatly contributed to the welfare of the people. With that, let us conclude our chapter. See you in the next session, children. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you.